steps inside. No problem. I call it the lazy half guard. So what's the lazy half guard? You're gonna grab here, then you're gonna grab your own thigh. Okay, now just gonna sit. Okay, this is a great control. Putting his knee on my chest. Okay, so from here, look, just kick, and right away grab. Oh, come on the hook, I pass it right away. Oh, look at this. Okay, he's like sitting basically on my foot here. Okay, and from here, look, I can just kick, and right away grab. Oh, come on the hook, I pass it right away.
Laisse-toi pousser la mèche et ta cote va monter en flèche. Oh, 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 bla bla bla. Ils disent des ouais, bla bla. Oui, je les laisse parler et perdre leur temps. Ils parlent tout le temps.
Pour ceux qui bougent, pas pour ceux qui chient dessus, qui savent, même qu'on est peu quand ça marche dessus. Pour nos sœurs qui seront les mères de demain, wesh wesh cousin, mafia quelqu'un. Pour les calouches, les harbouches, les manouches, hors garlouche. Hardcore même quand ça galoche. Pour les cas sociaux qui font des fautes sur les murs, qui ont des lacunes. Pour les Touaregs, les pirates du bitume, j'en plus chico sur le côté. Qui boitent, balafrés avec un œil qui se bat en couille. Toujours devant quand y'a un bruit. Pour ceux qui bougent, pas pour ceux qui chient dessus. Qui savent, même quand on est plus quand ça marchait dessus. Pour nos sœurs qui seront les mères de demain, wesh wesh cousin, mafia quelqu'un. Pour les calouches, les harbouches, les manouches, hors garlouche. Hardcore même quand ça galoche. Pour les cas sociaux qui font des fautes sur les murs, qui ont des lacunes. Pour les Touaregs, les pirates du bitume, ton plus chico sur le côté. Qui boitent, balafrés avec un œil qui se bat en couille. Toujours devant quand y'a un bruit.
Deux enveloppes dans l'une un big up au bled, dans l'autre un big up aux jeunes des cités HLM. C'est pour les mecs avec ou sans permis, des Loki dans le box, la weed dans le coffre et le 20 grammes de...
This is John Sandoval of PHYGT Network with Migs, a Web3 expert, and we're developing the first and only train-turn gamified app for grappling. Today, we have a very special guest, another legendary Jiu-Jitsu personality, founder of BJJ Eastern Europe, multiple-time IBJJF champion and third-degree black belt, Professor Guillaume HUNI. Professor, kamusta? How's Serbia? How's the jiu-jitsu scene there?
Johns, mabuti, salamat, maraming salamat. the the jiu-jitsu scene in Serbia is like in the Philippines. It's growing, getting bigger every day, every year, and yeah, it's promising.
So, Professor, I have a couple of questions for you. I know you're very busy. You're running one of the biggest social media for grappling, not only for jiu-jitsu but for grappling. So, I
Sure,
have a couple of questions for you for our
sure, man.
second episode of the Fightcast. Um, to start off, could you tell us a little bit about your background and what first got you into Brazilian Jiu Jitsu?
My background, yeah. So I started training officially in 2001, but I had been watching the UFC as a teenager since like 95. I was I was on vacation in Manila, I think 95, 96, and then like I was staying at my tita's place in Paranaque, and then I rented this. I don't know if it was Betamax or VHS tape or something. From the village store where they have all the bootleg.
Ancient technology na yan, Prof. Ah.
I'm old, man.
Betamax VHS.
Yeah, yeah. So from the village video store where they have all the bootleg stuff from all around, all the movies. So yeah, I took out like UFC two. It wasn't even UFC one. It was UFC two. And I was like watching it. I'm like, who's this Mexican guy? Like this Garcia guy beating up everybody. And then I'm like, it made such a huge impression on me. And then I was living in London, UK at the time. My dad was working there, and then I went back. I'm like, Mom, Dad, I found a sport for me. I got to train this stuff. It's real. It's but there was nobody there. There was no Roger Gracie in London then. There was nobody. It's '96. So I went back to live in the Philippines, '97 to '99, and I had gotten into contact with Alvin Aguilar back then. I wanted to train. I think Alvin was maybe like a blue or purple belt then or something. And they had that gym in somewhere in Paranaque, right? Or was it in? I don't think it was already in Sucat. It was somewhere in the south.
I think that's
And
inside BF, I think. I'm not sure
yeah,
though.
yeah, probably. But I never actually went. So I just trained judo while I was finishing high school in the Philippines. I did judo for like, I don't know, maybe around a year, 2 years. And then when I got to France, I went back to France to study, to go to college. Lo and behold, they had a BJJ academy with a fourth degree black belt teaching like two streets away from me. And I never stopped from then on. Brazil, it was a Brazilian guy, and I fell in love with the sport. I remember my first class. I get there, I see this big Brazilian guy. Orlandivo is the name of my first coach. It was middle of winter in Paris, and the guy's like wearing surf shorts. He's on his skateboard. He's like, "Oh, brother, how are you? Welcome." Like super friendly. Not at all like a formal. Like not like a Japanese judo dojo, whatever. You have to bow. The guy gives you a big hug. Like a Pinoy man. Super nice. And then I just fell in love with it. All my friends were from jiu-jitsu. I train like 2 times a day. I immerse myself in this sport. And yeah, it's been 23 years, man. Since I started training.
So you live and breathe jiu-jitsu, Professor.
Yeah, that's all I think about, man. It's like now I have a big academy here in Serbia and 11 affiliates, and I work online, with the website. It's always been my dream. Honestly, like I've been full time jujitsu for 10 years. in November. Yeah, sorry, it's already passed. It's already 10 years now since I'm full time jiu-jitsu, doing just jiu-jitsu, and yeah, I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful for this, because you know 99% of people in the world, they work, they work for salary, they work for somebody, they got a boss breaking their balls, so like you know and this is great, I get to do what I love, and if I can make a living from it, that's great, so very, very grateful.
So, Professor, did you try any martial arts before jiu-jitsu? That what made you stick with jiu-jitsu, BJJ over other martial arts?
Well, first, my first love was basketball. I'm half Filipino, so I lived 14 years in Manila, so I was a big PBA fan. I liked Añejo or Ginebra. I don't know if those teams still exist now. Ginebra, Robert Jaworski, Rudy Distrito. You guys are young. You don't know what I'm talking about, man. But
Oh,
Rudy
I'm pretty sure I know Jaworski.
Jaworski, man. The guy,
Yeah, yeah. OG,
was
OG.
so dirty, like elbow, you know.
It's still the same now.
Is it?
Physical. Kaya we consider basketball as martial arts here.
It is, man. I have a Serbian friend of mine. He played in the NBA, and he's like a EuroLeague MVP. Igor Rakocevic. He's like, hey, he was like 36, and he's like, I got an offer to play the Philippine League PBA. Should I go for it? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I think that they're gonna bust you up there, man. They're gonna rough you up. I don't think you should go. you know, you're not ready for that kind of play, man. you know. And yeah, so what was I saying? I was obsessed by basketball until 18. I was like, basically basketball was my jujitsu. The only difference is I wasn't very good at basketball. I was never like I was never a talent. I just loved it and all that. And then when I got the from so before I did BJJ, I did judo also, because I partly lived in France. So like every French person has trained judo. Judo is like very, very popular. There's like 3 million registered members in the French Judo Federation for a country of like whatever 50 million or something. So it's very, very big. So I did a bit of judo and Muay Thai, but once I started jiu-jitsu, I dropped everything else, and that was it. And through jiu-jitsu, I've done also some wrestling. I never competed in wrestling, but I did wrestling for BJJ. That's pretty much it.
That's awesome, Professor. So very well rounded. Your greatness.
Yeah, I tried to be.
So how has your training evolved since you first started? Did you like focus now on more ground game, or a mix of top and bottom?
Yeah, I mean, I like everybody who does jiu-jitsu, I went through all the phases, like especially like when you're a white belt, you want to get in as much as possible, as fast as possible, and the only difference is nowadays information is readily available. You can live in middle of nowhere and you have access to instructionals, all that. I didn't have that back then. This was 2001 when I started, so we just had magazines, we had some DVDs or VHS, whatever, and then we had our instructor and our team. So it wasn't that bad, honestly. It was actually sometimes maybe better, because we were focusing more on fundamental techniques, and then we would do like one technique for the whole week or for 2 weeks. Whereas nowadays, I see with my students, like even though I try my best to teach them, the fundamentals, I'll just see sometimes that they come up with some crazy stuff, some flying stuff. I'm like, man, where do you learn this stuff? He goes, YouTube or Instagram. I'm like, so that's great, but if you want to follow my advice, stick, especially if it's like a 6-month blue belt or something, stick to the fundamentals first. I always give the analogy to my students, like learning jiu-jitsu is like learning how to play guitar. You know what I mean? You're not gonna learn right away how to do like a crazy guitar solo. You have to learn the basics, and then after a few years, you can try all the crazy fun stuff, of course. But just take it easy. Take it slowly, step by step. But most people are impatient because jiu-jitsu is so much fun. And there's so much stuff you can do, cool stuff. But not everything is effective. Not everything is efficient. So but anyway, everybody has their own journey, and then they don't all, even though they don't listen to me, I know one day, like 10 years from now, I go, Coach, you were right. Because I did the same mistakes like them. I was the same. So I see myself in them.
Yeah, there was a time na si Chief told me to stop doing my top game. So I
Yeah.
was like, what? This is all I know. So
That's
if
probably
I
because your guard sucked. That's why. And then they're like, oh,
yeah,
your
no,
guard
for
sucks.
sure, for sure.
Yeah, so you gotta
So
focus. Yeah.
all the time everybody was passing me. I was passing me.
There you
Then
go. Yeah,
just try to find another game to
exactly.
when I get past. Then I try to reverse, and that's where we fight.
Yeah, the best
Um,
advice my coach gave me when I was a blue belt is he told me basically that your guard sucks, man. What you're gonna do now, listen to me very carefully, is from now on, every time you start a roll, you start from your guard, and then because so that you can how do you call it? You can to get the top position, you have to deserve it. You have to work for it. So you don't go straight to bully the guy and just go top game and smother them. No, you have to deserve it. You have to work on your guard, sweep them, or submit them from the guard, or that kind of stuff. And that was the best advice, like anybody could give me at that time because my guard really improved after that. And I do the same with my students now. I tell them the same thing.
so, Professor, what has been sorry. Is there any particular moment or achievement in jiu-jitsu that stands out to you as a turning point in your journey?
A turning point in my journey. I can't really pinpoint like anything particular. There's so many good things. I mean, as a competitor, for example, um, like I love competing. I mean, I compete about 10 times a year, even now, even though I'm 44 nowadays. But I love competing. So, but basically, growing your growing your confidence in your game through competition really helped me. Because um, like um, when you start having success in competition, for example, I'll give you an example. Like, let's say even though you lose a competition, right, and you go to training on Monday, what's going to happen on Monday? Your game is so much sharper. Your game is so much tighter, even though you lost, because it's like it feels like you put in like you got like 3 extra months of progress in your jiu-jitsu just from that one competition. You know, and I've seen this time and time again. You go to training, even though you lost, you learned from your mistake from that competition, and you're like you're analyzing that. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do this mistake again, and you fix your game. So for me, this has always been a big like eye opener. Whenever you compete, it's like your moments of revelation, and also some other things. Like for example, like when I was competing and I was facing guys who were really really good, and then before you're like doubting yourself, oh man, this guy's gonna like smoke me, man. He's so good, he's a world champion or whatever. And then in the middle of a match, you're actually doing well. I'm like, oh my god, I'm actually gonna beat this guy, and then you beat him. You're like, wow, I can't believe I doubted myself. Like I'm never gonna doubt myself again. Those kind of moments. It kind of opens your eyes to your capabilities. Because a lot of us, we're like, you know, um, we lack self confidence, and this really like, this can really help. Competing can really really help, and also controlling your emotions and staying calm and all that. That's all life lessons you can learn through competition. But competition is not the most important thing in jiu-jitsu. It's like some people love it, some people don't. I have guys who are brown belts who've never competed. For example, they just don't like it. They have a 9 to 5 job, they have 3 kids and all that. I don't pressure them. But yeah, for me personally, it's been competition has really really like, been a big part of my journey, and like an many eye-opening moments, let's say.
Thank you, Professor. What role do you think mindset plays in mastering BJJ, and how do you cultivate a strong mindset for training and competition?
I think it's very very important. Um, like for example, like we're all training jiu-jitsu, right? But some people improve faster than others, right? Some people like they'll in 5 years time they're like almost like a black belt level. And why is that? Because it's for sure it's because of their mindset. For example, A lot of people they go training and they just want to like sweat and then hang out with their buddies and talk shit and all that, But some people they have a goal. They go, okay, I'm gonna go training today, and I want to tap everybody with from my left side or something, or pass everybody with a sneak out pass, And then by doing that, you know, slowly but surely they improve, And that's why mindset is very important, in terms of improvement and training, Also for competition, your mindset, your mindset is, oh my god, I just hope I do well today, No, you're not gonna do well if you have this kind of this kind of mindset, Like me, yeah, you're talking about turning point. All right, this got I just remember this, man. Um, Nowadays, when it comes to competing, is I don't focus at all at my opponent. Like I don't even look at my bracket. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on what I can control. I focus on the perfect execution of my game plan. And this has worked very well for me because I don't put pressure on myself. I don't think, oh my god, this guy is in front of me, he's gonna smash me, submit me in 1 minute. No, I just I just go in there, I get my grips, I do my game, and this is a game I've been working on for whatever 15 years, and I pressure test it every day in training with all my black belts and brown belts and purple belts, so I know already all the counters possible. Of course, there's some maybe I don't know, but I know pretty much every reaction. So all I need to do is focus on myself executing the game plan perfectly, you know. And this has removed a lot of pressure from me. Like nowadays, I just go to competition. I say, listen, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna have fun. Whatever happens, happens, man. And I'm just gonna execute. That's it. And it usually works out well. Even if I lose, you know, I still feel okay. No problem.
So, Professor, what's your opinion on the evolution of jiu-jitsu? Are there any trends or techniques that you think are shaping the future of the sport?
Evolution of jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I mean, jiu-jitsu is like, I mean, if you look at the States, right? The States is the biggest market, and it's already mainstream. I mean, it's crazy how many people are training. I wrote an article the other day about how. So I was looking at what are the biggest podcasts, most popular podcasts in the world, right? I mean, it's the stats are not really uh, like you can't really verify everything, but more or less the top five are Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman, and Andrew Huberman, right? The 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 scientist or the professor, right? So, and all three of these guys are jiu-jitsu guys. I mean, two of them are black belts, right? Huberman's a white belt, but he's been training for like at least 6 months. I researched this, and then they always talk about their experience training jiu-jitsu. And this, for example, when you have someone new coming to your academy, you ask him, hey, how did you learn about jiu-jitsu, right? Back in the days, like, oh, UFC, right? I learned watching UFC, or I watched Rogan, or I watched Lex Friedman, And this is huge for us as a community because, for example, I just read that like Vladimir Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, is gonna go on a podcast at Lex Friedman's place. I mean, imagine that. He's gonna talk to a BJJ and judo black belt, and then Donald Trump went on Joe Rogan and like just before the election and like and I mean this is huge, and you imagine if those guys were training, I don't know, what, karate or something, right? Karate would be like like in the news, right? But these are jiu-jitsu guys. It's insane, man. And like all my friends who are in the States now, like a lot of from high school, a lot of them train jiu-jitsu. Some of them are black belts and all that. It's crazy. I don't feel it here in Serbia because jiu-jitsu is not mainstream. It's getting more popular, but most people don't know. I don't know how it is in the Philippines nowadays, but I think the Philippines follows America a lot. So most people know MMA, UFC. Back when I was going there, they watched like who Brandon Vera was. Oh, Brandon Vera, right? So a lot of people, more people know about UFC and BJJ in the Philippines than in Serbia, I think, or in Europe in general. Europe is a bit behind in regards to this. So um, the trends, yeah. Sorry, I got lost in the question, man. I forgot the question. What was it again?
Um,
What?
what's your opinion on
What
the evolution of jiu-jitsu, and are there any trends
yeah,
or techniques?
yeah. Jujitsu, it's incredible because it keeps evolving, right? It's never boring. It's not like um, I'm thinking about some martial art, like for example, I can't think off the top of my head, but jiu-jitsu has an infinite amount of techniques and counters and all that, so it keeps evolving for the better or for worse. I mean, jiu-jitsu how it is and now in 2024 is different than how it was 20 years ago. You know, but I like the way it's going. I just wish, for example, that we would keep more of a combat aspect to it and like it's kind of going now into a sport specific direction, like taekwondo or something. A lot of stuff you do in a sport jiu-jitsu, that's not our fault, it's the rules, but is not really you can't really do that in a self-defense scenario. I mean, I'm guilty of that. For example, I do a lot of deep half guard. I mean, you're not really going to do deep half guard in the street, are you, right? I mean, but the sport and the rules dictate how we train, right? So I mean, if they were to put a rule in jiu-jitsu like you cannot pull close guard or you cannot pull guard, that would force us to work more on our takedowns, and takedowns they dominate. Of course, jiu-jitsu, the beauty of jiu-jitsu is in the guard, right? There's no other martial art where there's a guard game as developed as that. Judo doesn't have it, sambo doesn't have it, wrestling for sure doesn't have it. So jiu-jitsu is about the guard, right? But I just wish that they would keep more of a combat aspect. We saw it over the weekend with Kron Gracie, man. That was so embarrassing what he did. Like pulling close guard and getting slammed on the head. That looked horrible, honestly. And Kron is a legit badass. I mean, he's an ADCC champion. I don't know what the hell happened there, man. I prefer to watch someone like Charles Oliveira or Damon Maia or Rodolfo Vieira in MMA. It's like good jujitsu. This was terrible, but you know that's one thing that kind of annoys me, and I don't know what's gonna happen. This nowadays jujitsu is it's getting more and more soft.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the points of Professor Holeta in the last
Yeah.
podcast is they would he's against the rules like taking lots of like moves like the knee reaps, the heel hooks like that. So what happens is the sport gets what do you call this, sanitized is parang, so it's
He's against heel hooks, huh? Coleta.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's an old school legend. I mean, it's like back in his
No, no,
days they weren't.
he's not
You know.
against. He's okay with that. He doesn't
Oh,
like things like that getting removed. Yung they
yeah,
remove
yeah,
it, so
I agree. I mean, heel hooks are so effective.
that's what
They're
may time
great.
down. Well, in Brazil, everybody got tapped by some American guy because of the leg
Yeah,
locks and
yeah.
ganyan.
In Brazil, I mean, it's changing nowadays. I have one of my best friend. He's the foreigner. He lives in Brazil, and he told me like a lot of guys don't want to do no gi. They're like, oh, no, no gi. I don't want to. No, no, no. Or heel hooks. You touch their leg, they start screaming like because they haven't been exposed to that so much. They're all it's much more gi centric, and then no gi is a bit frowned upon or something. It's changing now, but man, I was like, if that happens, I train personally 50% gi, 50% no gi. I prefer gi, but in my country in Serbia, there's many more no gi competitions. So that's why, like, if you look at most of my highlights, it's mostly no gi, right? But I'm a gi guy, man. I do gi game and no gi anyway. So, and I have had to work on my leg locks and all that because many of my students, man, they started tapping me out with the heel hooks. I'm like, holy shit, I have to get to with the program. The good thing is when you're like a brown belt or a black belt and you got good fundamentals, learning the leg lock game is much easier because you already have a solid base and your brain is already wired for learning. So once you adapt and you start learning the heel hook game, man, it's game over for them.
Yeah, just I think they have a slur for that, yung sapatero. When
Yeah,
you keep on
yeah.
you
It's
keep
like
on
low class.
tapping them.
Low class, he goes for the foot. But I mean, for me, like I'm also an old school guy. So for me, to really dominate somebody, you have to pass his guard, mount them, take it back, whatever. positional, and then submit him, right? The guy just catches you like with a trick move or whatever, you know. But then again, everything in jiu-jitsu is good to learn. You have to learn attacks, you know. You have to learn how to attack the lower body also, you know. Just don't make it your only game, you know what I mean? It gets boring after. Yeah. But yeah,
So,
I mean, jiu-jitsu is evolving. It's evolving. I mean, if we start to if we, I don't want jiu-jitsu to be like judo. Like judo, they remove leg grabs. You know, like what the hell was that? Like it was like a political decision. And nowadays, judo was not how Jigoro Kano, you know, the founder of judo, did it back in the days. You know, they remove all this stuff, and every few months they have a new rule change. It's ridiculous, man. You know, so that's why I don't personally want jiu-jitsu to enter the Olympic Games, because they're gonna remove a lot of things and control more things. I don't want the IOC to control jiu-jitsu. I don't want those guys to tell us what to do. I mean, hell no, man. You know, I like the way it is now. Okay, we have problems in jiu-jitsu, of course, you know, but I mean, you know, I think we're going in the right direction. And good thing about jiu-jitsu is self-policing. You know, something bad happens jiu-jitsu, the community is tight. We'll take care of it. Like if ever someone does something bad, you know, people talk and, you know, take care of this person. You know, so yeah.
so Professor, do you incorporate strength and conditioning or other forms of fitness in your training regimen? How
Yeah, I
important
do.
is that for BJJ practitioner?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think everybody should. You know, honestly. Unfortunately, I mean, I would like to do more strength and conditioning, but I train like 6 days a week. I'm teaching classes and I'm rolling every time. So it's like 6 days a week and I'm doing almost 2 classes a day sometimes. So like it's like 10, 11 sessions, jiu-jitsu sessions where I'm rolling with my students. And I got heavyweights, you know. The rest of my time is I'm trying to recover. Like now, Tuesday morning, I had a really hard double session last night. I mean, everything hurts, man, you know. Like that REM song, everything hurts, you know. So like um, sometimes what I'll do is I found a way to bypass the, you know, time and all that. So what I do is like after training, I'll do like 30 pull-ups at the gym, you know, like 3 times 10, and then I'll do like in the morning I'll do like 60 push-ups, and then I live on the fifth floor of a building. So every time I go down, I take the stairs, I go up with the stairs. So that around like 3 times a day I go up with the stairs, you know. So that covers my legs, covers my back, my shoulders, my chest, you know. So that I don't actually have to go to the gym. I don't have time to waste to go to the gym or, you know, or work out here, you know. And so that'll take care of my strength and conditioning for jiu-jitsu. And to be honest with you, like my game is so conservative, and for me the most important is like isometric strength. You know, like I like to develop that squeeze like this. You know, like I like to squeeze somebody like super hard, and that I develop it from years and years of training, from, you know, rolling with people and like squeezing the shit out of them like that. You know, that when you're older you get this old man squeeze. You know, if you ever grab your dad or something, you're like, oh, man, this guy's strong, man. You know, Malakas si lolo. You know, you know. So yeah, man.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I wish, you know, like ideally, I think if somebody trains like whatever BJJ 3 times a week, they should on the off days do strength and conditioning. You know, but if you train every day, you gotta, you know, you gotta find some time to do it. You know, but yeah, if you do 3 times a week BJJ, 3 times a week strength and conditioning, that's the perfect, you know, perfect thing. You know, but of course, I think doing jiu-jitsu every day is much better. You know, but that breaks down your body a lot.
Right,
So yeah.
Professor, not heavy lifting, so
I,
more
I,
on isometric.
I don't enjoy it. I used to like deadlift a lot back in the days, and then that's how I mess up my back. You know, honestly, I don't feel like much of a trans. I mean, everybody's different, right? I've tried everything. I've done CrossFit. I've done powerlifting. I've done like you know, back in the days like bodybuilding training. You know, that kind of stuff, and none of it really transferred very well for my own body for jujitsu. You know, I didn't feel when I was doing powerlifting. I felt like I was so strong like in the gym, and then I started using much more strength when I was doing jiu-jitsu, which is not good. And when you use more strength, you get more tired, right? And then same thing with CrossFit. I would go to CrossFit in the morning and go to BJJ at night. I was so tired, man. Even though I was younger, I was like, Or they're like, "Oh, what's wrong with you today, man?" They're like, "Oh, I went to CrossFit in the morning, you know," and then I would roll and I would get destroyed by everybody. So I didn't really see a benefit in it, you know, a transfer, let's say, you know. And so for me, the best is like this, like intermittent training. You know, like I heard Tom DeBlas talk about this. Like basically, when this how you develop like this farmer strength. You know, like farmers, they're always doing physical work during the day. They're always carrying something. They're always like squeezing something or whatever. You know, and then slowly but surely they develop this insane grip strength and insane strength. So I started doing that more of that. You know, basically like I got a pull-up bar at home. Every time I pass by the pull-up bar, I'll bust out 10 reps. You can do that like infinitely, like during the day. You know, next thing you know, you've done 100 pull-ups, but spread out during the day. Or I also have a sandbag at home, you know, and then sometimes I'll just carry the sandbag on the balcony, like up and down for like 10 minutes, squeezing the shit out of it, and then you develop your isometric strength. I got a kettlebell. I do like I walk around like this with a kettlebell, you know, that kind of stuff. So for me, it's much more effective than just going to the gym for 2 hours or an hour, you know. I don't know, but everybody's different, right? You gotta try.
Yeah, I've
But
noticed
one more
when
thing.
I used to lift. I
Yeah,
used to lift. So when I used to fight MMA, when you lift
yeah.
too heavy, it
Slows you down, man.
limits your movement. Yeah, it slows your
Yeah,
movement.
yeah,
Limits
yeah.
your movement. Yeah.
Mobility and speed. And the one more thing, like some guy told me once, like a black belt, he said, in jiu-jitsu, you don't need to be insanely strong. You need to have entrance level strength. Just be strong enough, because uh, just because you're strong as hell, it's also it can be a bad thing for your jiu-jitsu journey. You'll be so dependent on your strength. Like I was rolling with this guy the other day, brown belt of mine, and then he was mounting me, right, and I was like defending like this, right, and then he couldn't get. He was trying to lift my arms, like to isolate my arm like this, and he was using so much strength, and he was using his arms against my arms. And then I'm like, man, this guy's freaking dumb, man. All you need to do is something. And then I sat him down after. I said, listen, check this out. So I mounted him, and it's hard to see now, but basically I put my feet on his hips, and then I pushed off with my feet, and then my hips were pushing his arms up. That's impossible for him to defend. So basically, I was fighting his arms with both my legs and my hips. I don't care if you're a power lifter, you cannot stop that. He's like, oh my god, you just open. I said, yeah, that's so simple, but how would you discover that technique? By being weak. If you're strong, you can just bully people. You're like, oh yeah, yeah. But when you're weak, you have to find solutions, right? Like, how am I gonna get this guy to how am I gonna get under this guy's armpit and elbows? By using my whole body. And this is why a lot of guys who are super strong, they don't sometimes it's a disadvantage, because they don't progress as fast. They're just too reliant on their strength. I have a lot of guys, especially in Serbia, everybody's strong as hell here, and some guys technically, I mean, I tell them, dude, you gotta work on your guard. You gotta work on this. And it's like a broken record. They don't listen, But one day, I pray to God that they realize this, because it stuns their growth in jiu-jitsu. The best guys are the weak guys, man, because they're technically the best. The best guy in my gym is a Japanese guy, actually, pound for pound, Masafumi. He trained in the Philippines a lot of times. He was competing in the Philippines many times. He lives in Serbia now. He's a Japanese black belt. Dude, for me, he's the toughest role. He's got the impassable guard. I pass his guard every 3 months. It's horrible, man. It's like solving a Rubik's cube with him. It's so technical, and he doesn't use any strength. It's just pure technique. His frames are insane. He's got a frame. You cannot pass his guard. But that for me, that's the best example, because he's not reliant on his strength. He's strong, but he doesn't use it. He doesn't depend on it. You know.
So jiu-jitsu is always about leverage.
Yeah, so absolutely about leverage, and like my game, for example, I people are like, oh yeah, you're really heavy, or really strong. I'm not heavy. I'm 85 kilos. That's like I'm a normal guy in Serbia. But when they tell me I'm really strong, I take it as a friggin' compliment, because I'm not. I know myself. I'm not using strength. I'm just using my pressure and my whole body against them. So for me, it's like Because back in the days, I wasn't using that kind of pressure. I was using my muscles or using my strength to dominate somebody. Nowadays, I just lay on top. I put my head on their face and my shoulder, and I lay on top, and they're like, you know, you know.
That's
But
pure leverage.
yeah, pure leverage, and you don't exert any you don't get tired doing that. You know, they get tired because they're carrying your weight. You know, you're basically bullying them with your with your pressure.
Yeah, we all have a common si Chief when he mounts you, it's like 100 or 200 kilograms, something that's on top of you and you can't
Yeah,
move,
yeah, yeah.
and you just suddenly either you tap out or try to tap out before you pass out. And he's just using, Chief is like 70, 75. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. But dense,
79 is too heavy
like
enough
dense.
for him.
Yeah, yeah. But he's been training for so long, so he's developed that sensitivity. You know, he knows exactly. Wait, who's Chief? What's
Alvin
his name?
Aguilar.
Oh yeah. Oh, you call him Chief. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
Chief.
Sir Alvin.
So, Professor, what
Yeah,
advice would you give to someone who's? Wait, I think I asked this already. Sorry.
yeah. No,
What
no.
has
Ask me.
been your? Um, I think I asked you about this already. What advice would you give someone who's starting out in jiu-jitsu, especially if they're unsure? I don't know. Sticking about with it.
Actually, the advice I would give someone who's new to jiu-jitsu is remember that analogy about the guitar. That's one thing I tell it to my new students. Think of it like learning guitar or learning a new language. You know, it's you go step by step. You be patient. If whenever you get smashed in training, don't lose faith. Don't get too down. It's part of learning. It's a learning process, and all of us we went through that. All the black belts we went through that. You know. And one more thing I would say is like try to improve 1% per day. Just like constant small improvements, it'll get you far. A lot of guys that they'll train 7 times a week and then they burn out and you don't see them for 6 months. Just show up 2 to 3 times a week. Make that your goal, 2 to 3 times a week, and then improve from that. And then within a year or two, you'll have a decent level already. Slowly but surely.
Professor, what has been your experience training with different teams, instructors, or various training environments? Especially, you've been all over the globe.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all positive. It's all positive. Jiu-jitsu is like a one big family, man. If the instructor is a legit guy, cool guy, that usually reflects on the students. If the instructor is like a douchebag or whatever, the students will copy him. It's like the instructor is like the father. The father is abusive towards everybody, and then it rubs off on the students. So, but yeah, 90% or of schools I've trained at, or visited, it's all been good. Like I feel like we're part of one big community, like we're one big team jiu-jitsu. It's like the great thing about jiu-jitsu. You travel to a country, let's say you go visit, I don't know, like Thailand or something. You look up jiu-jitsu, you go to an academy, you go train, you make new friends right away. It's awesome, and then and you have friends for life. You stay in touch with them, and if you're respectful, if you go there respectfully, hey, can I please train with you guys? Yeah, of course, bro. Come over. It's great. It's that's always been awesome. And then I've been lucky enough to to travel a lot, and I live in different countries. So whenever I go to the States, my sister lives in New York, so I train in New York. She lives in Brooklyn. There's a small gym in Brooklyn where I train. I was even teaching a couple classes there. Then I went to train at Henzo's, and I know Henzo personally, Henzo Gracie. So I was training there. It was so cool, like the Blue Basement and all that. This was like 5 years ago. And there were some Pinoys there also. There were some Pinoy black belts, some Pinoy Americans, like, oh yeah, that bro, um, uh, Tika saan ka? And he's like, I'm from Queens. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. you know, oh my god. And yeah, it's always been positive, man. Training in different gyms. I love training in the Philippines also. Back in the days when I was here last time, and of course I know Alvin for a long time. I train many times at Sukat at the gym there. I've trained with Stephen Campwis. He's a good friend of mine, Coach Steve. Trained many times with him, like since I was a blue belt. And then we would go for morning trainings, and we would go have sushi after in the morning with rice. And he has so many old school stories from his time competing in Brazil. And I've trained with Ali Sulit in the Ateneo. I don't know if he's still in Ateneo now, but back then it was Ateneo Gym, Atos. Where else? Where else did I train? The Philippines, man. Forgot. Yeah. I mean, a lot with the guys from Def Tech. I told you last time I trained with back when he was living in the Philippines. I trained with Fritz Rodriguez in his gym in Green Hills, and then the first Def Tech was in the first Def Tech place I went to was in Hotel Intercontinental in Makati. And the old school guys there, man. It's awesome, man.
Professor, what, in your opinion, what's the biggest misconception people have about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Biggest misconception that it's easy. A lot of guys they'll watch Joe Rogan or something like, oh yeah, it's very accessible. I can do that. I can do that stuff. Man. I mean, jiu-jitsu, you can make it easy, but I mean, for example, I see a lot of instructors tell me, yeah, if you want to retain your students, don't make them roll. Don't make them roll for 6 months. But rolling is a fun part. And personally, I don't really care if someone, because the thing is like, if they're gonna quit within the first 2 or 3 months, man, I think they're gonna quit eventually, because I mean, I don't know if they can take it, because jiu-jitsu is hard, man. Like okay, you have to prepare them mentally and physically for getting beaten up in the gym. What I mean? As part of the journey, man. Getting smashed in training. If you can't take that, I mean, of course, some people you have to go slowly with them. So if the guy has never been in any kind of physical activity, or some people, they don't like having people close to you. Jiu-jitsu is like such a close sport. You basically, you you've got your balls in their face the whole time, and then they're not used to that. Like, oh my god, so gross. But a lot of people, they think it's easy, and they have no idea that it's actually a super hard sport. Okay, for example, Muay Thai, man. Oh my god, that's like, I train Muay Thai. That's brutal. If you're training sparring and all that, and you get kicked in the shins, in the hips all the time, man, I used to come home in pain. I used to come home limping. Jiu-jitsu, it's not the same kind of pain. You'll feel it the next day and all that. But man, if you train like a striking art and you get hit all the time, it's like, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe I'm more of a grappler, and I don't really enjoy getting hit all the time, But but I'm just saying, yeah, the misconception is that it's easy. It's not easy. It's fun. It's fun, but it's not easy. What I mean? Yeah.
Professor, in jiu-jitsu is often seen as a lifestyle. What does BJJ mean to you personally, and how does it affect you everyday life, your everyday life outside the academy?
Well, for me, I really live the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. Like for me, it's sometimes the jiu-jitsu lifestyle is even more important than training jiu-jitsu itself, because it's like, it's how you conduct yourself every day. So, for example, the way you eat. If you live the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, you're not gonna go around eating just crap all the time, and smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol, right? That doesn't really go with it, because you're gonna feel it on the mat. Of course, I'm not saying that everybody should live like a goody two shoe and all that. You should enjoy your life. For me, like personally, I live within the 80-20 principle. 80% of the time I do good things, 20% of the time I do bad things. Like just to balance it out. I mean, if you're just gonna eat clean the whole time, you're gonna go crazy, man. Sometimes I see a burger, a pizza, I'll have it. I enjoy a bit. And yeah, but for jiu-jitsu, the same thing. You just, okay, nutrition, also the way you act, the way you treat people. In jiu-jitsu, we learn about respect. You don't talk bad to people. If someone is poorer than you, like in the street or whatever, you don't get, hey, come here. You're not gonna talk to them like that. You're gonna show them respect, man. You learn that in jiu-jitsu. You learn that on the mat. you give respect first before receiving respect. You know, that's the way I see it, man. You know, like you go on the mat in jiu-jitsu, you say hi to the instructor, you say, sorry I'm late and all that. You know, be a gentleman. You know, that's part of you learn that a lot in jiu-jitsu, and that should reflect in how you live your life. You know, jiu-jitsu lifestyle. What else, man? I mean, it's more of a mentality. I think, you know, it's the mentality, and for me, I try to live that as much as possible. You know, for example, another example, um, if you're a real jiu-jitsu guy, real martial artist, when you go out to a bar or something, you know, someone bumps into you, you're not gonna, hey man, what the fuck, like f you, you know, like no, you say, hey, I'm sorry, man, you okay? Can I get you a drink? You know, you're humble. You know, you don't have to prove yourself. You know, you've proved yourself in the gym and competition. You don't have to prove yourself, man. People in the street are crazy, man. You know, they even the guy who doesn't train, he's got a knife. You know how it is in the Philippines, man. You got crazy people, man. You know, they have guns and all that. So same thing in Serbia. You know, I don't go out much, but when I do, I'm extremely careful. You never know who this person is. Always show respect. You know, hey man, hey, all good, man. You know, that's how I try to be.
So, Professor, this is our last question for you.
Yeah.
What's next for you in your BJJ journey? Any upcoming goals, competitions, or instructionals you want to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, what's next? Next weekend, I've got a big competition here in Serbia. It's AJP Serbia Open. You know, it's like it's gonna be, I don't know, like maybe 20 black belts coming over, lots of like foreigners. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I've got about 35 students competing. You know, we have a big team competing. Yeah, that's gonna be for the last competition of the year, and then in end of January, I'm going to Kuwait. I'm going to compete in ADCC Gulf Open. I've been invited to teach a couple of seminars there, and I'm also going to have a super fight. So basically, uh, this Kuwaiti black belt, tough guy, you know, judo black belt, BJJ black belt, local champion. We're around the same age. They're around 41, 42. So we're gonna have a masters match. You know, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Uh, and yeah, I'm going to be doing that. And regarding my instructionals, I'm filming tomorrow actually the sloth top game gi. You know, which I'm going to show everybody the my game in the gi, which is, I think, you know, I didn't talk about this, but my type of jiu-jitsu, I call it like sloth jiu-jitsu. You know, like super pressure based jiu-jitsu. You know, so basically, like for me, it was a revelation. Once I stopped exploding, once I stopped going fast, my jiu-jitsu improved. It's weird, you know. It's like going as slow as possible, controlling as much as possible. That for me was very, very effective. You know, my instructor in France, Hugo, that's his style. But he's not even a sloth. He's even slower than me. I call him like watching paint dry. Like his game is so slow, man. Actually, people who never roll with him, it's actually frustrating. Like, man, this guy's not moving, man. You know, he's actually moving slowly, but he waits for the mistake. So the problem is, like, if he's fighting someone who doesn't make a mistake, it is a stalemate. You know, but most like blue belts or purple belts, they get frustrated, they make a mistake, and then boom, he catches you. You know, so he influenced a lot my game. You know, but when him and me roll, it's horrible. Nothing happens. You know, it's like yeah, boring as hell. You know, like two snails wrestling. You know. So yeah, so I'm filming that one, and the instructions are going really well. You know, I'm very happy about this. This is the next phase of my career because I'm connecting with a lot of people from all around the world. You know, lots of Americans, Canadians, Pinoys, Filipinos from the States, Serbs, Australians, and they all write to me, and like they ask me for questions and technical advice, and it's great. You know, I make a lot of contacts, and I'm what I notice, a lot of people like in, like, you know, mid 30s, they all face the same problem. They're slowing down. They're getting smashed in the gym by younger guys, you know, and like I like to help them out and offer my 2 cents about how they can tackle this problem, you know. And so yeah, it's been great. It's been awesome, you know. That's regarding my instructionals, and with my academy. just to keep the good atmosphere in the academy. You know, if ever you guys are in Serbia or Eastern Europe, come visit me. You know, more than welcome. We got 11 black belts in the gym. Positive atmosphere, family atmosphere. You know, we got kids class. Then we have like I call it the middle aged BJJ. Like basically like middle aged people training. You know, like white, blue belts, purple belts. And then I got the fanatics. You know, the competition team. You know, the guys are friggin' monsters, man. You know, I keep them separated. You know, and they train in the afternoons and the evenings. You know, so yeah, it's I'm blessed, man. I mean, I love my academy, man. It's my happy place. Every time I go there at night, a big smile on my face. Like, I always tell my students, however shitty my day was, stressful, whatever. The moment I open the door of the academy and I give a hug to the first person I see, all the stress goes away. I'm like, oh man, good to see you. You're home. You know, like it feels good. You know, it's like I tell like, people like I need this more than you need this. Trust me, man. you know,
It's like all the negativity is
yeah,
dispersed
yeah,
in
yeah.
the
Yeah,
gym.
all the bullshit that you have in the city or in your everyday life, whatever you go there, it disappears. It's amazing. It's like magic. You know, you go to train, go talk to your friends. It's awesome, man. You know.
Okay, Professor. Do you have any questions for Professor Guillaume? I don't think we
I,
have any
I talk a
questions.
lot, so yeah.
No, no. So, this is a podcast for you, Professor.
How do they say in the Philippines? Telebabad or something, right? So like I don't know the old school
Alibaba.
telebabad.
That's a super 90s term.
I'm from the 90s, man.
Well,
You know,
we're gonna get booking. We're gonna get booking by our ages.
telebabad. Oh my god, I really miss the Philippines, man. You know, I wish my Tagalog was better, man. But you know, when I was living in the Philippines, I went to like a foreign international schools and stuff. So man, like, and my mom always talked to me in English, man. That's her fault. But I understand everything. You know, like my cousins and all that, they speak to me in Tagalog, but me like a bobo, I was answering in English. You know, but I understand everything. I miss the Philippines. I want to go back next year for sure with my family. Train. I want to give a charity seminar in Manila. You know, I'm gonna donate. You know, for the poor, help out. You know, and hang out with all my friends from the community. I love the BJJ community in the Philippines. You know, and I really miss the Philippines. That's my country, man. You know, I always represent. You know, as much as I can. You know, yeah. I'm very proud to be half Pinoy. You know, very very proud. You know.
Perfect, Professor. Solid, solid. So, before we proceed to the Web3 topics, we'd like to mention our sponsor for this episode. It's printandpromotions.net, corporate giveaways, print jobs, and sourcing. They've been in the business for 2 decades, and go check them out. www.printsandpromotions.net.
Yeah.
So for the app that we're building, Professor,
Yeah.
we discuss every episode a couple of utilities. For example,
Yeah.
this one we call it gamification. So we gamify the training. So
Yeah.
what this does is it makes the students get more interest and get more engaged. So, for example, the Jiu-Jitsu gamified, we call it the delayed gratification. This is where we develop the student to gain a habit of training consistently through incentivization. So,
Uh-huh.
the student goes to the academy, they scan the unique QR code of the academy, which is
Yeah.
partnered with us, and then they earn XP. So, the XP, once they reach their in-game character level,
Yeah.
to a certain point, they can start they can start converting the XP to the tokens that will be launching as well.
Yeah.
And then the utilities of the tokens is you can pay your academy fees, marketplace items, staking.
Wow.
This is the one where you can go against someone. You can stake your tokens against each other, or you can just watch.
Yeah.
If maybe your teammate is competing, you can stake your tokens on them,
Yeah.
and then maybe get it back if he loses or she loses
Yeah.
when you're sparring. So things
Uh-huh.
like this. And then
Uh,
we also have Um, this one is for the younger generations and even actually the veterans. Digital trophies. So, for example, were able to pull off a deep half and then sweep 5 times. The community will have to vet this in the app, and then once it's approved, you'll get a small digital trophy in your app that maybe you're now a certified sloth jiu-jitsu practitioner, so something like that. And then again, like last time, the first episode, we have the black belt challenges. So for example, you were able to pull off again the signature moves of the celebrity black belt who issued the challenge. You get
Okay.
a special digital trophy. You get tokens, and then you get a personalized congratulatory message from the black belt issuer or the
Uh,
black belt celebrity. So it makes our community grow and bond
yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
So it's how we're building this.
Nice, man. Great. Hey,
So
by the way, we didn't talk about BJE, man.
oh yeah, BJJ Eastern Europe, BJJ.
Yeah.
So I think we've put the links there for everyone to follow
Yeah.
the socials.
Yeah.
But this is where I actually always go to when I check what's
Okay.
happening around the BJJ or grappling news.
All the drama from
All the drama, everything's there.
there's always something, man.
Always something. It's not like they post like once a week. They're really like they
Oh,
do
every
this
day.
like real time every
Yeah,
day.
four or five times, 4 or 5 articles a day, pretty much.
Yeah, so it really,
Yeah.
really, if you guys are into BJJ or you want to be, you want to look into the politics or the drama or whatever, check them out, and everything's there. So, Professor Guillaume, we greatly appreciate your time. Thank you for carving out time for us in your very, very busy schedule. Many
I
thanks
am not
for.
that busy. I just have to organize properly. No, but thanks for calling me, man. And my pleasure. And I always like to connect with my Filipino brothers, Filipino Jiu-Jitsu brothers. And I'm really happy. I follow what's going on in the Philippine BJ scene. There's a lot of really, really, really good guys, especially the new generation. Wait, who's that guy? This is, I think it's like a blue belt or something. He won like a lot of stuff in the world not world pro, but yeah, world pro or even the Newaza. He's from DefTech. He's got a weird name, weird sounding name. Doesn't sound typically Filipino.
Blue
He's
belt,
Pinoy, but his name's like sounds like foreign.
Callum.
Call him what? What's his last name?
I actually forgot. I always see his profile, and he has this
That,
achievements.
that could be
Callum.
him because like a blue or I think maybe he's a purple belt now. I don't know, but he's like super good.
I know
Is,
I think that guy's just white belt, so I'm not sure if that's the guy we're talking
is it
about.
like the same guy? I don't know. I think he's like a world champion or something. No, in the Newaza or something.
Yeah, we have several champions in the kids division.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right,
So
that's insane. If those guys continue training, they're gonna be world beaters, man. Like it's insane.
yeah, I think
And Philippines are good Pinoys are really
Chief.
good for combat sports, man. Honestly.
Yeah, I don't know why we're wasting. Not wasting.
Forget
We have
basketball.
so much talent in. Eh, ikaw na nagsabi. So,
We're too
you
short,
know,
man.
exactly. I don't know why we're so into that. And
It's
galing-galing natin
this
makipag-away.
American influence, man.
Our basketball ends up always in fighting, so why not go to fighting na lang, di ba?
Dude, if you like basketball, come to Serbia, man. It is the country of basketball. They love basketball here. They have amazing players. Like they're as crazy for basketball as Pinoys are for basketball. Like it's insane. And they're
Yeah, but
so good.
you guys have the height.
Yeah, they have the height and they have the passion and they have very good coaches. They have the European type of playing where there's a lot of ball passing. It's not like
Teamwork.
Showtime NBA like dunk in your face fast breaks. It's really organized. But Pinoy they copy the American style, man. That's the problem, man. The NBA but shorter version. It's like,
Puro, puro
but it's
tayo,
really good players in the Philippines, man.
a lot
There's
of us are even smaller than Muggsy. Muggsy's already small, di ba?
Muggsy
Like,
Bogues.
imagine
Oh my
people,
god.
yeah. Muggsy
Oh
Boogs.
my,
Imagine
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, but you have some good. I mean, from the last. Was it like the last from the Olymp? No. But Philippines didn't qualify for the Olympics, but they beat Latvia or something. I remember, right? Yeah, they beat Latvia. They almost qualified, man. They beat Latvia in Latvia, and I saw like what a year ago they beat China, right? But in Manila. Back in my days, when Philippine national team played China, we lost by 60 points once. I remember it was horrible. You know, they had that guy. It wasn't Yao Ming. It was like a Huang Zhuzhu or something. I forgot his name. He destroyed the Pinoy team. But nowadays, man, the Philippines, man, I mean, I think I think Japan, China, and Philippines top countries, right? In Asia nowadays.
Yeah, but the
So
thing is, in basketball, we have 90% import.
that's
So
okay, man. It's okay as long as they have a Filipino grandma or something. At least they have some Pinoy in them, you know. we gotta get everything we can to help out, man. At least it's not like you don't. If you mean like for national team?
yeah, the PBA, even the national
Yeah,
team.
that's okay. That's okay. That's a Filipino heritage, man. You know, you got those black Pinoys, man. That's the best mix, man. You know. So yeah.
So we're
Anyways,
also having a professor. We are also having a tournament this January 24 to 25, where we launch this app
yeah.
along with the tournament. So
Ah,
we also have the Brazilian government to thank because they've been supporting us ever since, and of
wow.
course the Philippine Sports
Yeah.
Commission and the Office of Senator Bongo.
Nice, man. Nice. Connected, huh?
Well, we have to be we have to do all of this. We're also pushing. I'm also pushing the jiu-jitsu in our Department of Education as a curriculum in our
That'll
physical
be awesome.
education. No, I've
That'll be
been doing
awesome.
that like last year, pa. I think so.
Hey, I'll help you out with with more PR for the app. You know,
Thank
for
you,
the
Professor.
website, you know, worldwide. You know, anytime you need it, let me know. All right.
Thank you, Professor.
Of
So
course.
I think that's it.
All right.
Thank you for being a part of our this journey with us, and
Nice.
we can't wait to show you what's coming next. Stay tuned, stay connected, and we'll see you on the mat or in the app. Os.
Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, Prof.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for this. By the way, is this gonna be on Instagram or YouTube or something, or where can I find this?
It is in Instagram, Twitter, and
Yeah.
sorry, it's in YouTube, X, and Facebook.
Okay. Hey, are you gonna make some like clips, some reels and stuff? You know.
We're gonna do that. I think on the like third podcast, so we have a good amount
Okay.
of media.
Yeah. Once it's ready, let me know. You can put me as collab and BJE as collab. You know, it'll make it something cool. You know, so you can get more exposure.
Perfect, Professor. Thank you so
All
much.
right, guys. Thanks so much, huh?
All right.
Ingat.
All right.
Thanks, everyone, for
Thank you,
joining
everyone.
us today.
All right.